Manamike, and we're coming to you live from our Pocket Hill studios. We have Susan Masona on the sign language desk.
And I'm Joyce Mabika. Later on, we'll be joined by Dora Nuve from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. We'll now take a look at our leading stories tonight.
All set for the 2026 National Budget presentation this Thursday.
Peter Dube jailed for life for the murders of Shelton Chiluku and Gamchirai Madungwe.
And the mining sector pays over $1 billion to government in taxes, fees and charges.
Now, leading sports story tonight, Warriors coach names 51-member provisional squad for AFCON.
Now, those were our headlines. We'll now give you the news in detail. Starting with this story where President Emmerson Mnangagwa has handed over 5 vehicles and 50 wheelchairs to disability ambassadors for onward distribution to other needy individuals across the country.
It was a jubilant day for musician Greatman Bon Tongai Gwaze and other persons with disabilities who received vehicles and wheelchairs from the head of state, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, at State House in Harare this Wednesday. Other beneficiaries are musician Chipom Chengwa, an entrepreneur and Zimbabwe Youth Council board member Hazel Mandaza, Bulawayo-based beautician Michelle Madau, and Tendai Mazuru, who runs a disability organization. Under the Leaving No One and No Place Behind mantra, President Mnangagwa also handed over 50 wheelchairs that will aid mobility of persons with disability across the country.
Wese anenge aida kubatsirwa sehurumende tiripo kubatsira. So kusava nomunhu anovanda ngavauye kana vane hama dzavo, shamwari dzavo dzoda kubatsirwa ngavauye kuno tinovabatsira. Hazvisi zvinobva mumaoko angu aiwa ndezvehurumende. Saka ini basa rangu kumeka sure kuti tabatsira vana rubatsiro rwakadaro.
The 5 disability ambassadors paid tribute to President Mnangagwa's government, pledging to utilize the resources to visit other parts of the country, distributing wheelchairs to the needy.
Ndada kutenda nekuratidza mufaro wangu uye ndingada kuti kubata kwaMwari ana mukuru wenyika achitirangarira panguva dzakadai nebasa ratiri kuita. At least nyika yanga ichichema-chema taada ngomana wanawo off-road paari kuita makombo kuvanhu.
Takukwanisawo kuenda kufamba to reach out to those vari munzvimbo dzakasiyana-siyana vanorarama neurema nekuti vati empower panapa.
Zvanga zvindinetsa kufamba even kuenda kuma studios tachitohaya mota zvinhu zvanga zvindinetsa asi apa ndiri kunzwa kufara ndane chekufambisa even kubatsirawo vamwe vangu vane madisabilities ndanga ndichitadza because ndandisina chekufambisa.
What I've always wanted to do is go out to schools of differently abled people. And, you know, because I am a living testimony, I have done business and it's working for me. So I feel I can tell them, you know, I can inspire them to say, you know what, you can actually do this.
The Minister of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training, Honorable Tinoma Chakaire, appreciated the gesture by President Mnangagwa imploring disability ambassadors to continuously work for the betterment of others.
When I came to the president in Chivakumbira, he accepted Rakatano Ngavaway. Avanga vachikumbira vane mabasa vari kuita ambassadors vari kubatsira mayouth ari kurarama ari muurema. Hapana zvatingakwanisa kuita. And ndoda kutenda nesuro pandakafonerwa nchinzi vana vaya vamakati varipo ngavasvike mangwana makuseni. So I just thought vanga vachingoya vosvikoonekwa kubva vaenda. But nezvatazoitirwa izvi, we want to thank him and vana vacho vari kuratidza kuti vari kufara nezvavaitirwa nemutungamiriri wenyika.
Since the launch of the inaugural Youth Symposium, government continues to empower young people through various initiatives. Bruce Chawanda, SABC News, State House.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa has sent messages of condolence following the death of founder of the African Apostolic Church, Archbishop Paul Mwaja, and Supreme Court Judge Justice Felicia Machatukuta. Archbishop Mwaja, who died last week, was declared a national hero. President Mnangagwa described Archbishop Mwaja as one of Zimbabwe's most respected spiritual leaders who was a religious pillar for many followers within and outside Zimbabwe. He said Archbishop Mwaja's legacy spans over 6 decades, inspiring millions with unwavering commitment to faith, peace and unity. The president also said government saw it befitting to confer national hero status on Archbishop Mwaja in recognition of his contribution to the Zimbabwean society, with his teachings emphasizing obedience and good citizenship. Comrade Mnangagwa also described Justice Chatukuta, who died on Saturday last week, as a woman who possessed unquestionable dedication and unwavering commitment towards upholding the rule of law. The head of state also chronicled the life of Justice Chatukuta from the time she graduated with a law degree at the University of Zimbabwe in 1985, before serving in various positions in the country's legal fraternity. She served as High Court judge for 16 years until she was promoted to sit on the Supreme Court bench in 2021. In recognition of Justice Chatukuta's dedication to duty, President Mnangagwa has since directed that she be accorded a state-assisted funeral.
In other news, the government says notable progress has been recorded under the Infrastructure and Utilities cluster of the National Development Strategy 1.
In this week's post-cabinet media briefing, Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister Dr. Jenfan Muswere brought to the fore some of the success stories brought under the NDS-1, with particular focus on the Infrastructure and Utilities cluster.
Under the Economic Growth and Stability pillar in terms of NDS-1, the Minister of Finance and Economic Development presented the following achievements. The revenue mobilization target for August was exceeded by 6%. The construction of 16 units of Zimbabwe Revenue Authority Fair Bridge staff cottages is 90% complete. And the Zimra Chired's office is at 96% in terms of completion. The Weneka Housing Development Phase 3 in Granite Site, Harare, is complete, and the establishment of the Committee on Holistic Pension Reforms has been approved. 11 MDAs were trained in enterprise risk management, and the draft NDS-2 blueprint was validated and approved by Cabinet. Under the Infrastructure and Utilities pillar in terms of NDS-1, the Minister of State for National Security presented the following achievements. The construction of the Chadzire Bridge in Boyera, Manicaland Province is at 70% in terms of completion. The construction of the Kambanji Bridge in Mudzi District, Mashonaland East, is at 50% in terms of completion. The construction of the Power Bridge in the Midlands Province has reached 55% in terms of completion. And the construction of the Makugwe Bridge in Mwenezi District, Masvingo Province, is at 55% in terms of completion.
Cabinet also deliberated on what constitutes a national hero, the compensation of war veterans of the liberation struggle, as well as the identification of Botswana as a transit camp during Zimbabwe's struggle for independence.
The principles of the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Amendment Bill's objectives in terms of amendments is to enhance the welfare of beneficiaries, modernize the legislative framework, and align the Act to the Constitution. Under the proposed amendment, Botswana will be recognized among the transit camps through the revision of the definition of non-combatant cadre. The amendment will also provide a clear framework for the exhumation, repatriation, and reburial of veterans. Cabinet received and adopted the principles of the National Heroes Amendment Bill. The National Heroes Act is the primary legislation for recognizing individuals as national heroes for their exceptional contribution to the liberation of Zimbabwe. The proposed amendments seek to enhance the welfare of the beneficiaries under the Act and to refine the categories of heroes and heroines to more accurately reflect their diverse contributions to the nation. The amendments will provide clear definitions of who constitutes a national hero, a liberation war hero, and a liberation hero.
Amendments to the Deposit Protection Corporation Bill were also tabled before Cabinet.
The Amendment Bill seeks to align the Deposit Protection Corporation legislation with international best practice. It provides a regulatory framework on insolvency for troubled banking institutions and empowers the Deposit Protection Corporation to act as the liquidator for failed contributory institutions.
The Food Deficit Mitigation Strategy, as well as the Whistleblowers and Witness Protection Amendment Bill, were also tabled before this week's Cabinet. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
All is set for the presentation of the 2026 national budget by the Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Professor Mthuli Ncube, at Parliament Building in Mount Hamden this Thursday. Our business reporter, Owen Mandova, gives us a preview of what to expect.
A national budget is a very important policy document that affects the economic well-being of people from all walks of life. From a recent college graduate who is looking for opportunities in the job market, a worker who is concerned about their living expenses, and an entrepreneur who is looking at sustaining their enterprise. Tomorrow, the Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Professor Mthuli Ncube, is set to table the 2026 national budget, detailing how the country is going to earn revenue from taxes and how it is going to spend such money on social services such as health, education, as well as funding key economic enablers in terms of roads and power generation. What the Minister will table this Thursday will determine how all these three groups of people are going to fare from next year going forward. When the Minister arrives tomorrow here at Parliament Building, expectations will be very high, especially from the business community in terms of the path that is going to take in order to improve business conditions. There has been a lot that has been done so far in terms of relief measures to reduce the cost of doing business by slashing levies and fees. But one of the most important aspects of this is the slashing of the intermediate transfer tax, IMTT tax, which industry is saying it is increasing the cost of doing business. It is in this August house that Zimbabwe's transformative journey started in the year 2018 with the launch of the Transitional Stabilization Program dubbed Austerity for Prosperity, which sought to balance Zimbabwe's fiscal space after years of consecutive fiscal deficits. The coming in of the National Development Strategy 1, which expires by the end of this year, has also brought this much-needed macroeconomic stability. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Parliament.
Meanwhile, industrialists in Bulawayo have called for what they call a momentum budget that accelerates investment, maintains macroeconomic stability, and strengthens infrastructure development. The industrialists spoke to ZBC News on the eve of the 2026 national budget presentation, highlighting the importance of a budget that supports the retooling of the local industry.
Budget should address the reduction of cost of manufacturing in general, and I think this seems to be quite in sync with the strides that the government has already started making in terms of streamlining our cost of doing business. Targeted financing is very good, because one of the challenges that we are facing as industrialists is the cost of capital. Borrowing generally is very expensive in terms of accessing loans. So targeted financing is very good because we'll be looking at concessionary loans which are coming at reasonable interest rates, and in terms of even timelines to repay them, which are quite crucial when it comes to retooling, especially in line with the changing trends, because generally we are looking at changes in modern ways of doing business.
Government has begun the Ease and Cost of Doing Business initiative, which has been quite welcome and very necessary for competitiveness, for export competitiveness. So we are looking for a continuation of that those kinds of efforts. These are positive things for the manufacturing sector, for productive sectors, the real sector, if we can call it that. So we can continue to look in that direction and continue to work on those and make submissions.
In terms of boosting competitiveness, I believe we also need to look at infrastructure development. If you look at what has been happening on our road and rail infrastructure lately, it has been dilapidated in certain sections of the country, and I believe it's an area where the budget should focus on in terms of rehabilitating our roads, in terms of rehabilitating our railway infrastructure, so that those issues contribute towards reducing the cost of doing business. And then in terms of taxation, we also need to come up with a tax structure that is more accommodative, particularly for our SMEs, so that it's not a heavy burden on them.
We expect that there'll be also support for the value chain development, for strategic value chains that would drive our economy upwards, such as your soya value chain, your pharmaceutical value chains, iron and steel value chain. These are expected to be main drivers of industrialization, and we expect that the budget will support and give priority to these.
The World Food Programme has expressed a keen interest in the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, taking a leading role in combating stunting and malnutrition across the continent.
The World Food Programme has expressed its keenness to have the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, taking a prominent role in efforts to combat stunting and malnutrition in Zimbabwe, across SADC and on the African continent, citing Dr. Mnangagwa's visibility in the country and beyond the country's borders, and a great potential to inspire fellow First Ladies in similar advocacy roles. This was disclosed during a meeting in which the Food for Africa organization expressed its interest in partnering with the Angel of Hope Foundation to promote programs aimed at addressing stunting and malnutrition. World Food Programme Country Director for Zimbabwe, Ms. Barbara Clements, met with the First Lady at her offices this Tuesday, where she said Dr. Mnangagwa's platform is well placed to elevate ongoing campaigns aimed at improving child nutrition.
We met the First Lady to speak about the work that she's doing and the desire to work to promote the ending of stunting. We welcome that partnership of working with the First Lady in elevating the First Lady's platform in ending stunting and malnutrition, not just in Zimbabwe, but leveraging her partnerships that she would have with other First Ladies in SADC, as well as across the continent. At WFP, we strongly believe in local solutions, and we are expanding the use of local solutions and looking at platforms that the First Lady may hold here in Zimbabwe, in SADC, as well as in other African countries. We see great potential in this partnership.
The meeting was also attended by the Director for Food for Africa, Mr. Alan Oberholzer, who highlighted that his organization intends to expand their nutritional product to Zimbabwe, citing interest to work with the First Lady and WFP in taking their nutritional products to children and the elderly across the country.
We are expanding into Zimbabwe, and the purpose for our meeting today with the First Lady and Barbara Clements from World Food Programme is to expand our product, our nutritional product, into Zimbabwe and assist the World Food Programme and the First Lady to take the product into the field.
The First Lady, Dr. Mnangagwa, who welcomed the initiative, highlighted some of the programs she is implementing across the country in a bid to combat stunting and malnutrition among children.
We also work with the family closely. Then we go to schools. Ministry of Health backing us. Ministry of Social Services here in Zimbabwe also on board. And the Ministry of Health will also extend that to lactating mothers, those who've just given birth in hospitals. This is a very big program which must cover all these areas. So in hospitals as well, this feed has to go. I have this gastronomy program which I started, which is now in the United Nations, that the food that is here in Zimbabwe, what type of food is it? And how should it be preserved So we have done the cookout competitions in the whole country, which has now brought so many menus from time immemorial. All the grandmothers have put them on board, everybody, chiefs. So we have now a book of various menus from all our provinces in the country. We have the first edition. Second edition is coming. And third will come.
Stunting and malnutrition undermine children's growth and learning capacity, prompting calls for stronger collaboration between government ministries, development partners, and health experts. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Harare.
The government is courting more investments in the cement production sector, which anchors the National Infrastructure Development Agenda. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honourable Mangaliso Ndlovu, who toured the local industry in Mount Hampton this Tuesday, gave a roadmap of the investments set to be done in Zimbabwe by Nigerian businessman and billionaire Aliko Dangote through his company Dangote Group. He also spoke about the government's decision to lift a cement import ban.
The demand for cement in this economy is fastest growing in the region. We need to catch up on our production. Next year, we believe that we will far exceed our national demand because of the investments that are currently taking place. Dangote, again, is coming. In fact, he said end of year, beginning of 26, he will be here full time. And the good thing about him is that he's also bringing the kilns that are used to do the clinker. So he's starting from clinker production all the way to cement manufacturing. Some of our manufacturing companies import clinker from Zambia. We see of late they are also struggling to buy the clinker. We don't know what's happening in Zambia. That's why we are now focusing on local clinker production. It also happened that at the same time, Zimra undertook an audit process called loss control because they realized that there were some irregular activities, some were avoiding paying the tax. So when we discussed this situation in cabinet, the conclusion was that we open up so that we alleviate the challenges people are experiencing.
One more body has been retrieved from the Penalonga mine shaft this Wednesday, bringing the confirmed fatalities to 4 as search operations continue for the trapped miners.
The number of retrieved bodies from a mine shaft in Penalonga has risen to 4 after the identification of another body during a search operation this Wednesday. 3 bodies of the trapped miners were retrieved from the mine shaft this Tuesday after a heavy downpour. This news crew interviewed Mr. John Kajau from Jaji village of Dora, who revealed that there might be 3 of his relatives in the shaft, with fears that there could be up to 5 bodies still trapped within the shaft.
Ndauyawo kuPenalonga kuno ngemuzukuru wangu wakadonherwa wakatsimbirwa nemugodhi asi muine vamwe vakauya nawo saka woite vatatu weukama humwe chete pozoita umwe urunzi ngowebhohera pozoita umwe urunzi ngokwabambazonge kuite 5 wazobuda uyo handisuzivi kuti ndowepi wabva wobudiswa izvozvo nezuro takasvika pabudiswa vangani 3 kubva makuseni kusvika nguva inoyi pabudiswe munhu 1.
Manicaland Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution Advocate Mishek Mugadza has urged artisanal miners to halt operations during the rain season.
It's unfortunate tine vana varasikirwa neupenyu nekuda kweactivity yanga ichiitwa pano. Zvinhu zvatisingafari nazvo zvatisingatarisiri. Tine vamwe vabuda asi zviri kubhilivhiwa kuti tine vamwe vachiri pasi. So efforts will continue to be made to make sure all the bodies are retrieved with the hope that maybe you never know, some of them could still be alive. So we are beefing up nyaya dzehelp and kuti basa rienderere mberi rekutsvaga vana. Tiri kukomekedza vese vari mumakomba kuti siyanai nazvo for now. Mvura yauya, mvura iri kunaya, kunyange vane ari timbad makomba ngavambomira because mvura iri kunaya zvakanyanya zvatisingazoziva kuti chii chinoitika pasi ipapa.
Meanwhile, there was a somber atmosphere in Penalonga as relatives of the trapped miners eagerly wait for search operations to retrieve their loved ones from the mine shaft. Kenya's Chifuje, ZBC News, Mutasa.
The shooting incident, which claimed 2 lives in Gweru 4 years ago, has been put to rest after Peter Dube was sentenced to 2 life in prison terms and an additional 20 years behind bars.
For counts 1 and 2, which involved the cold-blooded murders of Shelton Chiduku and Gamchara Madungwe, Dube was slapped with life imprisonment on each count. On count 3 and 4, for the attempted murder of his second wife Nyasha and his sister Nyaradzo, Dube was slapped with 10 years each, totaling 20 years. Dube committed the crimes in 2021 after he suspected that his second wife Nyasha Naringo was cheating on him before he confronted them, where he fatally shot them. After killing Shelton and Gamchira, the murderer went on to shoot the Naringo sisters, leaving them for dead. After committing the crimes, Dube fled to Eswatini, then to Ireland, where he then masqueraded as a Mozambican national. He was then deported to Mozambique after the law enforcement agents became suspicious of his nationality. He was then extradited home in 2024. Upon his return, Dube tried to evade the wheels of justice on several occasions, after claiming that he was not mentally fit to stand trial. However, upon the request of Prosecutor General Justice Lois Matanda Moyo, Dube was sent for mental evaluation, where it was proved that he was not mentally challenged. At one point, Dube tried to evade justice by claiming that he was a 19-year-old prophet suffering from hernia. The ruling brings closure to a case which horrified and shocked the nation. Peter Jivima, ZBC News.
Meanwhile, the High Court has further postponed the pre-sentencing inquiry of businessmen Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu to this Friday. The two were convicted of defrauding government of $7 million United States dollars in a tender scam. The postponement was by consent.
This afternoon, the jail of Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu was back in court for their pre-sentencing hearing, but it was further postponed to this Friday, but this time it was by consent. Last week, there was some sort of drama when the defense was arguing that they cannot proceed without the full judgment. And now the full judgment is there. And the state also said that they want to give the defense the testimony of a witness who is going to testify during the pre-sentencing hearing. And so they agreed that they will meet on Friday for the pre-sentencing hearing to kick off. And this Joe was arrested last year and they have been in custody ever since, and they were convicted after a full trial, and for them to be sentenced, this pre-sentencing inquiry is now a prerequisite according to the new sentencing guidelines, and so they will have their pre-sentencing hearing to pave way for their sentence. So this Joe was convicted after the state managed to prove that they forged documents which made them win a tender to supply goods for the presidential pass-on scheme, and they were paid $7 million United States dollars by the government, but they failed to provide the agreed number of goods. And so this Friday, their pre-sentencing hearing will kick off, and this will pave way for their sentence. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
All right, then, that caps the first half of this main news bulletin. But for these and more stories, be sure to visit our website. That's www.zbc.co.zw. And of course, we are available on our social media pages, on X, on YouTube, as well as on Facebook. And our handle is @ZBC News Online.
And here are stories still to come in this bulletin. A mining sector pays over $1 billion United States dollars to government in taxes, fees and charges. And in our sport, Warriors coach names 51-member for provisional squad for AFCON. Join us for these and more stories after this break.
Zimbabwe inhaka yedu. Zimbabwe is our heritage.
This festive season is the right time to travel.
Local is local.
Zimbabwe 2025, #1 destination in the world, according to Forbes magazine. This festive season, travel local and experience our heritage. Zimbabwe, inhaka yedu, ilifa letu. Experience Zimbabwe. Zimbo.
Welcome to Anafi High School, a center of excellence, discipline, and character where every learner is guided with wisdom and shaped for success. Located in Concession Mazoe, our doors are opening January 2026, and we're now enrolling Forms 1, 2, 3, and Lower 6. Our Cambridge curriculum is delivered through modern classrooms and advanced science and computer labs, with boarding facilities that redefine student living. Give your child the foundation to excel. Contact us on the details below or visit anafihigh.com to begin your enrollment today.
Sharing a ride to another city used to be my way. With InDrive City to City, it's my way. I choose my pickup and drop off, my price, my driver, and pay for just one seat. Share rides your way.
Driving against oncoming traffic can kill. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe has noted with great concern and taken into account the increase in number of vehicles on the roads of Zimbabwe, leading to motorists taking the law into their own hands and driving against oncoming traffic. Motorists are advised to desist from putting the lives of pedestrians, passengers, and themselves in danger by driving against oncoming traffic, as this can cause accidents and the loss of life. Such actions will result in the motorists facing the full wrath of the law. We advise motorists to exercise caution and patience as we create third lanes for public transportation and buses to decongest traffic on the roads of Zimbabwe. Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, keeping you safe on the roads of Zimbabwe.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In a move that is set to redefine access to healthcare for urban communities, the City of Harare, the United Nations Population Fund, as well as the ZB Financial Holdings have launched the Community Health Equity Fund at the Hopely Youth Center and Clinic. The initiative is a pioneering community-based financing model designed to ensure that no resident is denied healthcare due to financial constraints.
The Community Health Equity Fund, CHEF, is structured to provide financial protection, reduce out-of-pocket health expenses, and guarantee access to essential services, particularly maternal health care, youth-friendly services, and sexual and reproductive health and rights. Seeded with over 700,000 United States dollars from UNFPA's Strategic Investment Facility, the fund is expected to catalyze additional public and private sector investment while strengthening healthcare resilience in vulnerable urban communities. Harare Mayor Councillor Jacob Mafume described the fund as a milestone in decentralized health development.
Program itoda kuti munhu ukabhadhara $1 woregister, ukabhadhara $2 hauchina imwe mari yauchabhadhara pano futi, nokuti pane mafees amunoona akanyorwa paya akanzi $3, $5, $4, chino ndo toda kubvisa.
ZB Financial Holdings plays a critical role as the banking and digital backbone of CHEF, ensuring efficiency, transparency, and scalability through innovative financial infrastructure. ZB CEO Banking, Mr. Elisha Chiburi, highlighted the institution's commitment to health service delivery.
The Community Health Equity Fund ensures that every family, no matter their level of income, can walk into a clinic and receive care without fear of the cost. ZB's role is not only to manage the funds as a bank, but more significantly, we have provided the digital infrastructure that makes CHEF possible.
UNFPA country representative Ms. Miranda Tabifor hailed CHEF as a powerful platform for universal health coverage.
CHEF represents maternal health. Maternal health, that is one of UNFPA's critical strategic visions, where we are aligning the vision with the national health vision that says no woman should die giving birth.
Speaking on behalf of the Minister of Health and Childcare, the Chief Director, Policy and Planning in the Ministry, Dr. Stephen Banda, reinforced the alignment of CHEF with Zimbabwe's long-term health vision.
The country has gone a long way in planning for the introduction of the National Health Insurance, which I would also acknowledge other speakers have alluded to already. We are hopeful that the country will launch the National Health Insurance next year. The insurance envisages several strategies for the mobilization of domestic funding for health and community health. Equity Fund is one of such a milestone.
For Hopley residents, CHEF represents more than a policy. It is relief, dignity and renewed hope.
Since consultation fees, it's much easier with $2 yako pay.
Tatofara nechirongwa ichochi nekuti takutowana medical aid yakachipa chinotiyamura uye pakuzobatsirikawo pakunovhigwa kwatinoita.
Munhu akarwarawo takukwanisa kufonawo pachipatara kuti toda ambulance pakati, ambulance ishe chitakura munhu pachena.
The Community Health Equity Fund is expected to be rolled out to other communities as part of broader efforts to strengthen healthcare financing and ensure universal health coverage across Zimbabwe. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
We're now crossing over to our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. Dora Ngube will give us the next stretch of the bulletin. It's a very good evening to you, Dora.
Good evening, Joyce and Tari and the rest of the team at Pocketsville, and many thanks for taking us on. Youths in Matabeleland North Province have benefited tractors unveiled under the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme. The empowerment initiative, which is being rolled out in all the country's provinces, is meant to improve agricultural productivity and ensure national food security.
As the summer cropping season gets underway, 7 tractors unveiled by President Emmerson Mnangagwa under the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme have been handed over to youths in Matabeleland North Province. Beneficiaries are excited about the prospects of improved agricultural productivity in light of the empowerment initiative.
Sesizakwanisa ukuthi siziyenzele lathi sizimele ngoba sasilama-farmer kathesi amaplazi esaphiwa ngobaba upresident kodwa ukuthi sisebenze kulawa ma-farms sasingalakho kokusebenzisa.
Sithi kwakumNangagwa kahlale sesihlalweni sakhe kuzokuyefika u-2030 ngeloku sesihlalweni sakhe ngezinto eziningi osesenzele zona njengamayouth sesiziphakamele njengamayouth khathesi besiphiwa amaploti singela nto zokulimisa.
Sijabule kakhulu ngalokho esikwenzelwe ngupresident. Asikwazi ukuthi singambonga ngani kodwa njengabantwana thina siza kumsekela kuze kufike ivision yakho 2030 silokho esihamba silayo upresident.
At a critical moment when government says young people must be in the mainstream economy, the program could not have come at a better time.
Project ama-empowerment ngibali kupa ama-youth echincha kutanguna ku-provinces ukubenefit ama-youth saka swatiri kuti ma-youth ematinotali kuti vamunangagwa ngabachitonga kosika 2030
onalo umnyaka ekuqaliseni kwabantwana banikwa izinkomo ama-youth banikwa ama-10 hectare plots 2 months ago banikwa ama-trucks abo okuzi-empower ama-tipper trucks ukuthi bavulile ikhampani yabo abantwana abematabeleland north.
The tractors will play a critical role not only in farming but also as part of government's broader vision of rural development. Mhlomuli Ncube, ZBC News, Wange.
The Budimba Village Business Unit in Binga is propelling the district towards food self-sufficiency, with villages now producing crops all year round, boosting nutrition and increasing household incomes.
We are here at Vundimba Village
under Chief Sinakoma in Binga district of Matabeleland North, where we witnessed a thriving crop which include maize crop, watermelons and other crops. Village business units have become a success story in dry regions such as Binga, where access to water and irrigation infrastructure has historically been limited. This is the story of Bundimba villagers under Chief Sinakoma in Binga after the commissioning of a VBU in the area marked a major milestone, creating new business opportunities and improving livelihoods.
Twasumpuka byankambo tulokusi ambishana mbichana mbuli bana kazi ikuti tupatele bana kuchikolo kana kuti tule zimwe zitu takwazyo mu area
twasumpuka mujisi Jesu ulabona twazoyisha bana besu kuti binke kujigolo kambo tushaliri delogo
ezi zipopwe z'abatu yanda kunowuzya tujane mali nyingi poto zoyisya bana besu ikwindira mu VBU mpota zojana mali ezi tuzosika mputu abana muchindi ichiza kuti twafosi abana besu kuchikolo.
The local leadership attests to the transformative nature of the VBU which was established last year.
Ayizga kuti twinkirire anembo atala a garden A kuitira kuti tugwasikane mbuli group lyesu tusumpule kumandesu abana besu kuitira kuti bana besu bainke kuzikolo amali A inozwa mu VBU yesu.
Urumende yakatwetera ma garden ngabali mazishu bali mazipoga onke mana munywa so fulumende twamono mbaloko ikubame chima garden akona nchazi akamboka kuchiswa kodwa abantu bali kwamba ngabamba kuti mwayi kubotu ma garden.
VBUs are also strategic in offsetting challenges posed by climate change as well as promoting rural industrialization. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Binga.
Learners and community members with albinism in Gwanda South have benefited from a free eye care service program.
In the sun-baked village of Ramnwana in Manama, dreams are as wide and boundless as their fields that stretch to the horizon. Many youths pursue education at Manama High School and other surrounding schools, while others leave for either South Africa or Botswana due to proximity to borders. Yet, for Brightness Makita, a 22-year-old woman with albinism, life has been tough since childhood. She could not pursue her education due to an eyesight problem. Her story has, however, changed after area legislator Dr. Ompile Marupi, who is also Deputy Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, mobilized resources for a free eye care services in the community.
A problem, so grade 1 up to grade 7. So naska kumana tu wawampa maglass.
Problem ya mwana ke nikinayo. Mwana kana saboni. Ugwa mutuku ramisa grade 1 up to grade 7 rirosuda nje uri mwana riskadula naye. Anabile nyana atakumana tuso ya batu ba meto. Bayemthola bampa maglass. Ubilo bona beta kamata. Zwauri uthoka. Kabe ninka ba kine muthu akanthusa uri mwana ke akakhumana khana khosi ni yaliata.
Dr. Marupi reaffirmed government's commitment to serving once marginalized communities.
Bana ba banji ni batho ba banji ba mahae ba khone hore ba editoropo ka hore abana tšhelete ya transport abana mo ba to dula hona empa era re ma doctor a temanama ba khona hore ba pane kariki ba te spatela ka hore ba bile gaufi o bona batho ba kumane thuso ya meto re thoma bana ba grade 1 bo ECD ba crash bana bale bote ba primary ba secondary ba te ba kumane free treatment eluru ya thokea hore ba diwe di operation ba to tsamaiswa pele ma specialist tswane jore nto e be wona mengwa yote hore ba te ba di ma review ana mo spatela samana.
The eye care service program conducted at Manama Hospital targeted children with albinism in and around Gwanda South. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
China's permanent representative to the United Nations, Fu Kong, has emphasized the urgent need for global cooperation to combat the escalating issue of human trafficking. Speaking at a United Nations General Assembly meeting in New York, United States, this Tuesday, Fu said trafficking of persons is worsening globally, with related crimes characterized by increased expertise, sophisticated networking, and internationalization. He asked the international community to adopt a global governance approach characterized by extensive consultation, joint contributions and shared benefits. He emphasized the need to translate consensus and commitments into concrete actions to confront the global challenge of human trafficking collaboratively. China has made significant progress in combating human trafficking, introducing specialized laws and action plans at State Council level in response to the crisis. And well, that's it from us here at Montrose. We now take you back to the team at Pocketsville for more news. Joyce, it's back to you.
Well, thank you very much to Dora and our crew from Montrose Studios in Bulawayo. We continue from Pocketsville. The government is developing a comprehensive policy framework that will regularize and improve production of sesame in the country.
The proposed policy framework is expected to address challenges that have hindered the full commercial potential of sesame, which has become a vital source of income and resilience for most smallholder farmers in dry regions. The first step has been an engagement between government and stakeholders in the sesame production value chain, held in Harare this Wednesday.
When you speak of sesame in government, it's been identified as a strategic crop. Why? Because sesame is noted that one, first and foremost, it does not need a lot of inputs. And if you talk of crop production in Zimbabwe, you talk about these synthetic fertilizers, which are costly and at the same time bulky. But when you talk about sesame, no low cost. At the same time, sesame is just a dry, tolerant crop.
The policy will also address standardization, quality, and market control, as well as linkages.
There's quite a significant improvement. 2018 we produced 5 million kgs, but in 2024 we produced 20 million kgs. However, you will notice that the reason for the increase in the production of sesame is because of its being a cash crop. Farmers can produce it, they can cash their cash instantly. 1, 2, sesame can also be used as for subsistence. It can be used for peanut butter. It can be used for oil. It's a medicinal crop.
One of the steps that we are doing as AMA to try to understand this this value chain, which is what we are calling sesame, because it has got so much export potential. So we're just trying to aggregate all the players together and come up with a structured marketing system where, because we have noticed in the past that most of this sesame is just illegally going through our border. So we're trying to localize it here and make sure that those bona fide exporters actually do the business here, and we export in a manner that is expected.
Sesame production has been on an upward trend, with estimates showing a significant increase in recent seasons, driven by high returns and demand for the crop's oil and seeds globally. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
And that story takes us to a break, but when we come back, we'll be giving you the latest in the world of business. Stay tuned.
Vanoda valisi ziitai aye, varimi vese itai aye. Vanoda go itai aye, simudza gorako. Kurumiza, ndogona kungoti oyo, vavalisi zipada moyo. Vanyai vana maina na baba. Kurumiza, mbeu kwayo rikuvalisitsi, airowe nezvifukuto kana tsikitsi, kana zvirwere ende nokupa harvest. Apa ndiri kurevesa very honest, nevalisi itai aye, varimi vese itai aye.
Mwaka uno tenga mbeu yako ku Valley Seeds, usimudze goho rako. Valley Seeds vauchiki vembeu yechibage, yepana nePioneer, goros, ma-traditional grains nema-vegetable seeds ose anopa goho repamusoro-soro. Valley Seeds, where farming meets the farmer.
Festive is here, Shah. First Street lights up, and suddenly the vibe is back. It stretches from Harare to Hollywood, even to Old Trafford. Jesse Giri Festive. all I want this festive season? The stories that keep us hooked. The ngoma, the rhythm, the laughter, the drama, the goals, the world-class entertainment that brightens up the holidays for the whole family. All I want is DSTV.
Nkuko igniza sibada nakamira koroso erokri grow varule ipauchana ba kumana chengetedza utano hwedu pefana kumwa mvura wanda pefana kunge tiita maexercises utano hwedu huto hwakasimba super koroso kukurudzira varume kuti vaite zvakadaro izvozvo kuburidza nekuti utano hwedu hunyatsosimba ende kuburitidzawo mukati sauti ranakatobata rakaputirwa kuiwa pakanaka kuratidza kuti harisvike harina zvarinowana handisaka varume ngatike utano hwakanaka tichikwanisa tikuwanikwa tichigeza tiwanikwa tichishandisa mvura yakachena mumba chedu chaipo kana tisina zvatinenge tichiita maweekends angava maweekends kana during the week uri off maexercises anokurudzirwa kuti tinge takasimba pautano hwedu tikazvichana saka naizvozvozvo ndo mashoko amanakusiyai kuti wanze chinini utano hwamakosha.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We continue with the main news bulletin. Now, in exciting news, Zimbabwe is reaping the benefits of massive mining projects after the sector paid over $1 billion in taxes, fees, as well as charges and royalties since January this year.
A prospects of the mining industry report released this Wednesday reveals the mining sector continues to play an important role in the country's socio-economic development. It states that the mining industry, whose capacity rose to over 80% this year, paid over $1 billion in taxes to government, riding on increased production.
The performance is very positive in the sense that the capacity utilization in the mining sector has increased compared from 2024 to now 2025. There has been an increase and forecasting to 2026. So all it means is that there is confidence in the country, especially in the mining sector, as far as investment activities and the mining activities in the country.
The gold, platinum and lithium subsectors are the main drivers of overall mining industry growth.
2025, these are good numbers, steering performance in terms of output, in terms of export earnings. But the most important thing is the general confidence that our miners have in the forthcoming year. Yes, there may be a few bottleneck matters such as energy, power that they need, capital shortages and foreign currency shortfalls. But the overall picture remains in the upward trajectory.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Mines and Mining Development, Mr. Pfungwa Kunaka, commended the mining companies for their role in facilitating growth.
The mining sector has been able to grow, especially under NDS 1, which is coming to a close. And the report is confirming that the performance has done wonders and the contribution to the economy is on an upward trend. What we are looking at going into NDS 2 is building at the foundation that we have had during NDS 1.
Takeaways from the report include a projected $7 billion in earnings, increased job creation, value addition, more projects and contributions to the Treasury. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
From business news, let's now take a look at the arts. Zimbabwe is taking part in another global pageant after Miss Cosmo Zimbabwe 2025. Alisa Sibanda left for Vietnam, where she will represent the country on the international stage.
It is a proud moment for 33-year-old Alisa Sibanda, who left for Vietnam carrying not just her luggage, but the hopes of the nation as she steps on the world pageant stage. The journey to Vietnam comes after months of intense preparation, which Sibanda described as challenging, exciting, and deeply meaningful.
I am so happy to be representing a country like Zimbabwe. I'm proud of our country, I'm proudly Zimbabwean, and I hope I make Zimbabwe proud of the international stage. And yes, please support me in any way, voting, praying for me, however.
Zimbabwe has been increasing its pageantry presence on global platforms, and just a few weeks ago, the country celebrated a historic moment at the Miss Universe pageant where Lashanda Moyes was in top 30 A powerful milestone placing the nation firmly on the world map. It is now Sibanda's turn, and who knows what the future holds. Patience Nyagato, CBC News, Harare.
Well, you've heard it, Zimbabwe, the girl needs our support, so go ahead and vote for her. And all the best to you, Lisa. Now, Zimbabwean and Zambian filmmakers are forging new creative partnerships through the Creatives Connect Africa initiative that is being held in Ghana, with a major collaborative film project underway between the two neighboring countries.
The Creatives Connect Africa event being hosted in Accra is already yielding results, with the Zimbabwean actor and filmmaker Munyaradzi Chidzonga announcing a new film collaboration with Zambian filmmakers after connecting at the forum.
So the whole energy behind Creative Connect Africa is to bring people together from across the continent so that they can find synergies and co-productions and collaborations. And I had to laugh that, you know, it took us about 2 days to get here because of the connectivity system. But during that time, I met a Zambian filmmaker who works in Lusaka and in Nigeria. And we connected and we found that we have a common interest in film and we have similar challenges being from the same region. So we decided to collaborate, and we're working on a film together, a collaboration between Zimbabwe and Zambia, and we're going to distribute it in both countries.
Zambian actress and filmmaker Chadzanso Mwenda expressed excitement about the partnership, highlighting the natural connection between the two nations and promising significant output in 2026.
We are super excited for this collaboration between Zambia and Zimbabwe. It's a long time coming. You know, Zambia and Zim are basically siblings. This is going to open doors for actors from Zambia and Zimbabwe to collaborate. We are excited about this partnership, about taking the region, putting all countries together. I'm so excited and grateful for this opportunity.
The collaboration marks a significant step in regional creative integration under the African Continental Free Trade Area framework, demonstrating the Second Republic's commitment to strengthening cultural ties and economic cooperation across Africa. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Accra.
And that report concluding the arts. We take a break. When we return, we join Lawrence Trusida to give us our daily dose of sport.
Festive is here, Shah. First Street lights up, and suddenly the vibe is back. It stretches from Harare to Hollywood, even to Old Trafford. Jesse Giri Festive. All I want this festive season? The stories that keep us hooked. The ngoma, the rhythm, the laughter, the drama, the goals, the world-class entertainment that brightens up the holidays for the whole family. All I want is DSTV.
Sharing a ride to another city used to be my way. With InDrive City to City, it's my way. I choose my pickup and drop off, my price, my driver, and pay for just one seat. Share rides your way.
Good evening and welcome to Sports News this evening. My name is Lawrence Trusida. We start off with football news where Warriors head coach Marine Marinika officially faced the media for the first time this Wednesday in Harare, promising a new era built on hunger, competition and trust in local talent.
His reign began with contrasting results in international friendlies away from home, kicking off his era with a poor showing against Algeria that raised early doubts, before Zimbabwe produced a spirited and energetic performance against Qatar, a display that instantly won back support. Addressing the media in Harare, Marinika said no player should feel entitled to a place in the national team, insisting every call-up will be earned on effort and attitude.
It doesn't matter the league, it doesn't matter where he plays in the world, it doesn't matter the age. So the door is open to anyone. No places are guaranteed. Everyone has to fight for their place wherever they are. So based on that, I want to have something on merit to have a strong squad as best as possible to this AFCON.
The Romanian-born coach also took the opportunity to announce a provisional 51-member AFCON squad, a list notable for its large pool of local-based players. Players like Zimbabwe utility player Ishmael Nyani and playmaker Emmanuel Ziocha, who is among the best 11 players selected this Tuesday, have been given a chance. Energetic Nigel Martina of Morse, midfielder Abubakar Moffat and goalkeepers Nelson Chajga and Donovan Bernard are some of the local players looking to get onto the flight to Morocco. Steady Xolani Ndlovu of Chikenin, young Tadiwa Chakuchichi, as well as up-and-coming midfielder Junior Makunike and Kingsley Mureremba have earned a look in. The homegrown contingent is expected to go into camp from the 3rd of December, with places still up for grab ahead of the final cut. Marinika has been tasked to lead the Warriors past the group stages for the first time, a task he feels is mission possible.
Through my staff, through the players we have, will prepare as best as possible to identify our strengths, opponents' weaknesses, and as much as possible to make the best game plan and on the day to try to win every single match.
Zimbabwe will use the coming weeks to tighten preparations as they gear up for their 6th appearance at the Africa Cup of Nations, aiming to break new ground under a coach who has been there before.
An opportunity there for some of the up-and-coming stars to stake their claim in the Warriors team that is going through to AFCON. That kicks off next month. Remember, Zimbabwe kicks off the tournament with a date against Egypt on Unity Day. We certainly hope that they'll be ready by then. Moving on, and still talking of AFCON, Zimbabwe's top referee Brighton Chimene has been selected as one of the match officials for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations. Chimene, who has been a leading light in the country, is the only Zimbabwean on the list of 73 match officials assigned for the tournament that kicks off next month. He's listed among those that will be in charge of the video assistant referee technology. The celebrated referee attended a Confederation of African Football CAF video match officials training in Egypt last month. Chimene breaks a 17-year-old drought, with Kenny Maranga being the last Zimbabwean referee to perform duty at the Africa Cup of Nations when he officiated in Ghana 2008. So good news there coming through from Zimbabwe with the country's top official, Brighton Chimene, getting a call up to move on to AFCON. And on contrasting note, Tondra Ndira has left Scotland. Kasolaga Premier Soccer League champions Scotland have parted ways with head coach Tondra Ndira just a few days after he led the debutants to their maiden top flight title. Ndira's contract expired at the end of the season, and the two parties agreed not to renew it. Scotland announced the development on social media this Wednesday, thanking the former Dynamo Sengezi Platinum Stars coach for masterminding a historic league title in the club's debut Premier Soccer League campaign. So, yeah. That's football. Funny things sometimes do happen, and the surprises are always the order of the day in football. And the big question now is who joins Scotland and what's next for Ndira. Moving on, Mighty Warriors head coach Stetelele Sibanda has named a 23-member squad blending youth and experience for the Three Nations tournament in Lilongwe, Malawi, starting this Friday.
The last outing in February, a defeat to Angola in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The squad sees some new exciting players who showcased their talent in the just-ended Women Premier Soccer League, being a chance to compete with veterans. Chapuku goalkeeper Delight Matigwere joins the veterans Vanessa Lunga and Cynthia Shonga for a battle between the posts. In defense, youngsters Bridget Mtaorwa of Rentals, Melinda Mapasura Faith Drive, and Fiona Kabari of Coinjit Academy feature alongside experienced campaigners Agnes Tumbare, Sheila Antonio, and Alice Moyo. The midfield is staged with the veterans Daisy Kaitano, Privilege Mpeti, Caroline Mangwai, and Christabel Gatsona from Black Rhinos Queen selected. The talent of Betha Okondo of Rentals and Magini Spini of Harare City has also been recognized after the pair was selected among the midfielders. Athol Chinyerere, Rutindo Makore, Prentice Rwanda, and Anita Nwere of Kwekwe will lead the attack. The Mighty Warriors opened the Three Nations tournament against host Malawi on 28 November before facing Zambia in the final match on 2 December. The tournament is key for the Mighty Warriors' preparations for next year's international fixtures. The team departs for Malawi this Thursday. Anna Shemorombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
So we can also let you know that the Soto Cup has tipped up, that is in Scotland, and Zimbabwe managed to beat Northern Ireland 54-40 in their first match that has just finished. We certainly hope that they can continue with the good work. Remember the Gems last year, they managed to get through with a bronze medal, so hoping that they can do one better this time around. But that's a wrap for Sports News, and it's back to the main desk.
Well, many thanks there to Lawrence Trusida for giving us our daily dose of sport. And that concluding this news bulletin from all of us. It's good night.
Welcome to yet another edition of Constituents Talk. Today we are spotlighting development in Goromont South, where new initiatives are driving progress towards Vision 2030. Our journey begins in Ward 25 at the Samuel Parere Nyatwa area, locally known as Walker Mtamba. Here, the National Assembly member Honorable Washington Shanda has officially commissioned a new transformer capable of powering approximately 400 households, much to the delight of the local community.
Anoda kutora mukana uno kutenda His Excellency President Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa this gesture yavatira muzvara nhasi muno muGoromont South. Tiri kunzwa kufara, tiri kunzwa kudzirwa. Tapuwa another transformer muno muWalker Mtamba Ward 25. Zviri kufadza chose, mhuri iri kufara yeGoromont South. Last week but one takapuwa zvakare kuEastview muCaledonium mamwe matransformers. Tine matransformers akaona takapuwa naPresident vanzi magetsi ngaaende kuvanhu. President anogara kutaura zuva nezuva kuti nyika inovakwa nevene vayo. Iko zvino vana veGoromont South vari kufara visingaite nedevelopment iri kuitika mumusha, magetsi aakuuya. I think Eastview, Caledonia yese yakanga isina magetsi kumakore akawanda.